Hey everybody, this is Charles.
And I'm Latia. How are you all doing today? We have been talking a lot about our SYMBIS testing and going through the SYMBIS report with couples and encourage you all to take our SYMBIS. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about what SYMBIS was. What does SYMBIS stand for, Charles?
SYMBIS stands for Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts.
Yes. And for married couples out there that's already married, what you take is the SYMBIS Plus. So once you go in, it already knows you're married and starts asking you questions that relate to married life.
And your relationship together.
Blended families. It talks about finances, different aspects, but it asks you questions so it knows the different type of report to give us. So we're going to talk about a little bit of the way it works. So the way it works is you tell us, hey, Charles and Tia, I want to invest a little bit in my marriage. It might be going good. It might be rocky. Whatever.
Or somewhere in between.
That's true. And we will has to direct you to our website,
mt3r.net,
to go ahead and sign up for the testing. All pricing is on there, and we also will send you a PDF that tells you a little bit about it. But because you watched this video, we're going to go into good detail. And then we have a treat for you. We actually have recorded did ours.
Yeah, we did ours. It was very intriguing. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yes, we did our test. It was good. It surprised us. So the way it works is you tell us that you want to take the test. Well, it's actually not even a test because there's no pass and fail. But it's an assessment. So we get the wife's email address and the husband's email address and send you both the link with the access code to take the test. I take mine and Charles took his.
Yeah.
We didn't know when each other was taking it. Now, because we are facilitators, we're certified facilitators. So there was a training we had to go through to get certified for this because it's a lot of information. You have to have somebody unpack it for you. So I did mine. He did his. We can see the progress. So if one of you all have completed, but the other one is still taking their little time, because you can pause it. You don't have to, and it's not long.
You don't have to sit down and take the whole thing all at once. You can take your time.
But it's only about, 25 minutes?
But it doesn't take long to complete the whole entire assessment.
Not at all, but it saves your progress. One of our couples said it felt like the SAT a little bit. Yeah. Because you never know it, because it does ask you a lot of questions, mainly about yourself.
And it wasn't difficult at all. Mainly personality-based questions.
Yes.
But yeah. Pretty good.
But the report that you get from that is amazing. And this testing is 94% accurate. Dr. Les and Leslie Parrott, they're two psychologists. And they do a lot of marriage, different sessions and things. We did one of their things on how to fight fair. But they are the makers and the inventors of the SYMBIS assessment. They have tons of books out. So there were so many different things that went into actually coming up with the results.
And creating this assessment, I think they said it was like over 3,500 couples that all this information is based on. So like she said, it's 94% accurate. So not everything in your results will apply to you, but the majority of the information that you see in your results will actually be relative to you and your situation.
Yes, and we have done about 3 couples so far since we started this. Before we get into this, one of the things I noticed is a lot of times it's hard to get people to actually invest in their marriage when things are going good. You usually wait for something to happen or something to transpire before you really realize, oh, maybe we need to work on this. But I like to use, we have our different analogies that we like to use. I even like to use your car. You don't wait for that engine light to check engine light to come on your car before you go and check that engine. You maintain that car.
Yeah, there's maintenance things that you have to do. Oil change, required oil changes. You don't wait till your check engine light comes on and you have a blown head gasket because you ain't changed your oil in 2 years. You do mainly your daily maintenance on the car and the vehicle to make sure everything's running smoothly.
Exactly, and that's what we love to talk about. That's why it's so important with those date nights. And if you go back a few different things, we did about a year ago, we did a thing on date nights and just different date nights. So we always say, if there's an issue that you cannot have a date night, and you feel like there's a reason, email us. We will tell you a way to find a way to have that date night, whether it's finances, whether it's babysitting, whether you just can't find a way to get out the house or don't know what to do. Please, this is what we're here for. We want to see your marriage thrive. And the only way you can thrive is by finding each other and connecting with each other. But you do not have to wait going back to SYMBIS, you do not have to wait until something acts up, until you see some warning signs that something could be going on with your marriage. Do it early on. That's why saving your marriage before it starts, because it was really at the beginning geared towards engaged couples
yeah.
To talk about finances and talk about your support systems on each side and your spirituality, so you both would know coming into marriage, what are you coming into. You learn a lot about what your spouse or your fiance, how they were raised and what kind of mindset they have on just things that happen in the house.
And even while you're married, as she was saying, like, we don't have all the answers, and nobody has all the answers.
No.
But if there's a guideline that kind of help you guys get on track to where you need to be together as a couple, why not take advantage of it?
Yeah, so we're going to break in, because, it even tells you sometimes, like, we bring on love languages, and then sometimes it even tells you how your spouse needs to be loved, or how your spouse needs to be, what they need from you at that time. Because I know our biggest thing is we're not mind readers. We don't know, so it lets you know what they might be needing from you at that time, because you're married and we're together, and we're stronger together than apart, but you are an individual as well. Yeah. So that is what we're going to talk about when we go do our SYMBIS test. So as you see up on your screen right now, some of what you're looking at is going to be the introduction. It just tells you, hi, this is the SYMBIS assessment. You see me and Charles's pictures at the beginning, but it's going to have your pictures. So it'll have a picture, whatever picture y'all upload of the husband and wife. And then it'll tell you what day you completed it. And then it's prepared by, of course, Charles and Latia Hampton. And then that's the email address for us. So that is what you're going to see on that first page and what you're looking at right now.
The second page is going to be getting the most from your SYMBIS report. It's mostly just your demographic information. So it's information about you, yourself, your general information like your age, ethnic background, education, employment status, family of origin. So that's your your parents' marital status, how you were raised, your birth and order of the family, number of kids in the family. Just basic information just about your demographic as a couple, as your person. And if you're married, this will include your wedding date, relationship status, previous marriages, number of children, if you're expecting a child, the length of your engagement, the stability of your marriage, how you view it, and then your long distance issues, if there's anything like that exists in the marriage.
Yes. And all of the information, of course, it just lets you know, just so you can be a little more familiar. And this is this information that it does gather from the questions you answer when you actually do your part of assessment, and it brings it all together. We also cover at the bottom of each page, I'm going to highlight the little bluish asterisk type things, but there's some hints and some different things that we're going to go over with everybody at the bottom of each page. And then so on this one just looks like the goals that you're going to get from working with us and your SYMBIS Plus. As you say, this one's the SYMBIS Plus exam. On engaged couples, it'll say SYMBIS. And as we traveled through our assessment, so that was the beginning of the assessment. That's just how it just talks about you. So when we get into the assessment, the first page that most people will see is their marriage momentum. And it's just as a couple, what's that momentum you have in marriage? And once we do our sessions, we go more into how that momentum is. But what you'll see is low, medium, or high. Those are usually where you fall with your marriage momentum. We happen to fall high, but that wasn't without a few years ago. We even said we might have been low.
We might.
Because with marriage, as you know, you go through hills and valleys. Yeah. So no matter what this dial says, by the end of the assessment and after working with us and as we go through it, yours can move as long as you have two willing parties in the group.
And two people that are willing to put forth effort into making things clearer to each other.
Yes. And the things that go into your momentum are these things that you see below. And as you see on each side, one says Latia, one says Charles. And it is...
So under minds, it actually says romantic mindset. And we'll talk about what these individual mindsets mean later. But mine was romantic, and Latia was a...
resolute. So it talks about your mindset either while you're in marriage, because ours, of course, is in. We just hit our 17 years of marriage. And so ours, of course, was while we're in marriage. Or is even your mindset while you were going into marriage. There's a few different mindsets that they have. And so with the mindsets, they're either resolute, rational,
romantic, restless, or reluctant.
Yes, those are the different types of mindsets that you will talk. And so it tells you what your individual ones are, and then it tells you how your mindsets come together. And so that's a really big thing to know. The next thing is well-being. As you see with well-being, it is it breaks down your individual well-being.
And it shows you how your personalities and your well-being match up together.
And so it comes with your marriage well-being. So in that well-being, it talks about a lot of different things as far as that. Also with well-being, you'll notice it says things like caution flags. So that caution flags could be some of anything. It may be something that you dealt with growing up in your childhood, or
something you're dealing with now.
Yeah.
It could be anything really that could impact you personally. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that something showed up there, but it's just something that you could just still be working on. And you may need to seek some professional assistance for that.
Exactly. And we'll touch base on some and some things, and then we will refer you out if there's something really bad, but it does break down what those individual caution flags are. And what we tell people is when you come to us, trust me, there is a no judgment zone. We want to help. That's why we're here. And if you don't, I always say God can't heal what's not revealed. So it's okay to do this, especially if you're going through something, because you want to make it work. So if you're going through, we want you to try and make it work and see what you can do with this. Okay. Next, after that well-being, after the mindsets and the well-being, we have context. Context has a lot of things that's involved in context. So, for instance, it is your social life is in context. Now, with social life, it can be relationship with your family. What? Or it could be the relationship with your in-laws. And it could be your mutual friends. Because, trust me, going into marriage, if you have friends, separate friends, it talks about how they might come together. Even being married, if you still got this one group of friends and another group of friends, mostly our friends are...
Yeah, we pretty much have
they're together.
We've been together for so long at this point.
Even friends that might have been our high school friends or our friends, because we've been together, there's a problem if I can't share my friends with my husband. Right. Why is that? Or if he can't share his friends with me, why is that? What's the problem? What's the secrecy? So most of our friends together. And then, of course, prioritizing time with your mutual friends, and then your support, the support from your family, support from your church community, and just your environment, period. So all that, the way it matches this up and lets you know it's really good and it was really great, and it lets you know things you can work on.
Yeah, for sure.
Because none of this is matter of fact. Context also includes finances.
So it goes over a money matrix, and that mainly talks about your money style, who's the spender, who's the saver. You can see I'm the saver, Latia is the spender. How you budget your money and things you fear financially. And it also talks about debt. If you're bringing any kind of debt into the relationship, and it details that information there below.
Yes, and then it also, of course, as you know, we'll ask you different things about how was money growing up in your home? Was money something that you can talk about, and things. So them are some of the things that we discuss. And these are things that you don't think about sometimes.
Yeah, you kind of don't think about this. You kind of just, they were married, they worked it out somehow, but nobody ever really told us, how these things kind of happen. They kind of just fall into place. So this was one of the things that we kind of had to learn to talk about money. And sometimes it's a difficult conversation, and somebody might get upset. Somebody might want to buy a new purse. But but you have to talk about these things in relationship. I mean, or it becomes a thorny aside at some point.
Yes, or when something happens with your finances and you don't know how to handle it because you haven't talked about it. Or maybe it's somebody that came from a family that always had some money and never, or the kids maybe never seen their parents struggle, so they didn't know what it was like. They think this is something wrong because now, we got to figure out this or this to make ends meet. So these are things that you really want to talk about, because what happens is, they call them little marriage mosquitoes. Like, these little things, they little and you don't know about them, but when something happens, it could cause a big problem.
Right.
So you really want to talk about these things. So that's what we're here for, to open up and to get you talking on some of these different topics. Also, in context, there is expectations. There's a lot of different things you talk about, things you don't normally talk about, such as who's going to work.
So for us, and like both of us just did it. So both of us just ended up working, but that might not be a clear role. That other people might not have in their marriage. Like, somebody might have grown up and their dad, or they saw their father working, mom stayed at home all day long.
And so that's what we actually look at. So it asks you, who did these things in your family? Things even like taking out the trash, staying at home with the kids, fixing a car, filling up the car with gas. Who did you see doing them? And then who's going to do them? So who do you think is going to do it? So it asks me who's going to do it, then it asks him who's going to do it.
Right. So it lets you know what expectation the other has for what role they think they should play in the marriage.
Exactly. And then, because there was a point, as we know, life happens, so you might have these expectations when you do get married, because there is a fantasy world and you paint this wonderful picture. But then there was a time where I think you got laid off from a job. I mainly worked. He finished school. And then he did working. I worked part-time when I went to school. So these are different roles that sometimes might shift gears a little, but these are things that you need to talk about and try to have a good head, because you don't want if he had been the type of person that was like, oh no, I need you to work too, and I needed to go to school, then that could have been a big problem in our marriage.
All right, but that was something, then again, that we talked about. You can't just show up one day and be like, oh, I'm going to go to school, or I'm going to take this time off of work, and you're like, but these bills still need to get paid, and there was no conversation beforehand.
Right. Maybe you need to work opposite shifts. Daycare could be a problem. So somebody works midnight, somebody works daytime, and y'all alternate with the kids. So these are all things that under expectations that we cover during this SYMBIS test. So as you see, we do not, when you take the test, one thing, we haven't even gotten to the next part of it yet, of a context, because this is still all part of context. But as you see, there's a lot that goes on in this test. We do not give it to you all at once, because there's a lot to absorb. So once you actually take it on, and we're going through this pretty fast, because there's a lot of different things in here.
So one session is like an hour and a half long. So
actually, no, we mark them down. Hey, sometimes they do get deep, but it's really about 30 minutes to an hour. It's about an hour. It just depends. But sometimes it can go longer. It just depends on how it is. But as you see, there's a lot. So these are different sessions that you come back to us. We give you things to think about, things to work on. So we don't want you to absorb all this at one time. Okay. Another thing we do is, so the next thing, that was all context. So when you're looking at your paper still, you see that we had the mindset, the well-being, and the context. So, and then after that, the last one is dynamics.
So the next part here is dynamics, and as you can see on the screen here, you can see where me and Latia fell. She's the energizing spouse, so she's always the one really ready to go all the time with different tasks and projects. I'm the deliberating spouse. So I'm more the thinker, I guess you can say. So I'm more cautious approaching things. Now, it does give you a definition for each one of these, as you see around the little lotus flower, I guess. The different types of personalities you can have as a spouse. And then also in dynamics, there are other aspects that it talks about as well.
Yes, so in dynamics, and we're of course because it's so much information. Just some of the things that to talk about is just strengths that with those two different type of personalities that you might have, the strengths that you do bring to your marriage, your how you solve problems, and it not only helps you, but it helps your spouse understand you.
Right.
When you think, they're a little quirky or something's not right, it also helps understand the way you solve your problems. And the way you communicate. It understands the way you like to be loved, and show love. And the things that most important, because it literally has a scale of whether it's romance, spontaneity, respect even falls on here. Which of those things are ranked the highest with you and when you need to be loved? There are so many couples who do not like to talk about sex. Y'all know that's not one of my problems, but but they do. They can't open up. They don't know where to start. And then if you're a pre-married couple, you might have never talked about it, and you might be a little nervous because we know a lot of couples are saving themselves for marriage. So don't let that be something that you're scared to talk about, because before you go into it or before you enter it, just talk about some of the things, some of the myths and stuff that you've heard, and some of the concerns you might have, because you don't want it to be an awkward time, even though it still might be at that time. But when you are married, you should be able to talk openly with your spouse about things you like, things you don't like. You might need a safe word or something. So, these are the things, and it asks you, are you comfortable in these? And do you feel like you're meeting your spouse's needs? And is your spouse meeting yours? And it really asks you, how do you rank yourself with meeting the needs of your spouse? So that is some pretty mind-blowing and mind-thinking things. And then it wants to know your attitude. What attitude are you bringing towards marriage? And what you have in these different things, and because of that attitude that you have, how does your spouse take you, especially if you're under pressure?
Right. So how do they perceive your communication? Because you could just think and you're mild and you're just talking, but if they're perceiving what you're saying as an attack, how I used to do, I would just shut down. And I know that's not necessarily good, and it's something that we've worked on to talk through. But how is what you're saying come across, being perceived to your spouse?
Yes, and I don't mind sharing this part with y'all. So, for instance, I was the energizing spouse. So with under energizing, it tells me that I'm optimistic, inspiring, persuasive, charming, enthusiastic. And hopefully, if y'all know me, I try to be that all the time. But my spouse, under pressure and under stress, he might perceive me as overly optimistic, unrealistic, and self-promoting. So that might be how he perceives me under pressure. And then with Charles, he was, you want to read yours?
Yep. So as a deliberating spouse, I'm more conservative, which is definitely me. If you can see who's done most of the talking in the video. I'm low-key, cooperative, adaptable, and modest. As my shirt says, stay humble. Hey, that was a complete accident. But how she may perceive me under stress is being wary, hesitant, and compliant. I'm not sure about that one. If anything, she would see me as nonchalant under stress. Because she's overly... I'm not sure about the overly optimistic.
Me either. That's what I was looking at.
She's more
right?
overly hyper. And she sees me as super laid back and yeah. So
yes, and
that's what we said before. Mm-hmm. Some of it may or may not apply to you in your situation, but the majority it will.
Yes, and then when we looked at this, like there were some things like, I don't know about that one, but for the most part, it hits a lot of things on key. So, and then it also just talks about your communication styles, and a lot of things I always say what I had to learn is, because y'all know I like to talk and I can get loud. I know that about myself because hey, self-awareness is key. He would shut down if it was something I'm passionate about, or I'm fussing and I'm yelling and bickering or whatever. That's, I didn't perceive it as nagging, but that's how he was receiving it, and he was shut down. So I realized that wasn't working. So I had to approach it, take them deep breaths. I always say smell the roses and blow out the candles. Take the little deep breaths, and then, approach in a different way, because I don't want to waste my time and my energy either. So if I really want my husband to receive it, I need to come at a level that he's going to receive it.
Exactly.
And then he knows I don't take, I mean, if he's very quiet when he coming to me, I might not take him seriously. So then he knows, okay, let her know that this is something serious that I'm talking about. Just because that's how I'm going to receive it. If he's just more like quiet and laid back, I'm going to think it doesn't matter to him. So these are things that during the SYMBIS assessment, during us, with us and during the SYMBIS assessment, we open up a lot of these doors and a lot of these windows. Some people say we bring out the communication in them because sometimes people just don't talk like that, or you don't stay focused on those things that you're trying to talk about.
And it's so hard, especially when you have a lot of things in your mind that you want to talk about, especially when you have a spouse that likes to talk. You can hop on several different topics all at the same time and kind of not know where the conversation's headed at the end. So taking the SYMBIS test actually is really going to help your marriage and help your communication styles, because you're going to see what your spouse actually likes and how they like to interact, and then you know how you interact, and then so you can make adjustments where needed to be.
Yes. Another big part I love with this SYMBIS, and honestly, there's a biblical portion that's attached to this. So for every part of this, there is scripture backing it. So there is, of course, a spirituality section of this test, and I loved it when I seen it, because for us, which I mean, a lot of times, we had to work to get on the same page, but the thing is, your partner don't know what page you want to be on if you're in and out, or if you're unstable, or if you're, I always say, like, bipolar in the spirit, like, one day you want to be here, one day you want to be there. You can't get mad at your partner if they don't know where you want to be. So one thing I really loved, it was like your spiritual life together, and for both of us, we were even keel, and it was like yes to everything. So it was like praying together every day, practicing the same religion. These things we felt like was amazing, and I love that part and that aspect of it, because we're raising children, and if we're unequally yoked, what is that going to do to these young people that we're raising?
All right, what example will we be setting for them if we don't know what we're doing?
Yeah, so that part right there was amazing, that I felt. Another time it talks about the processing of time in your thing, and I know he said wasn't going through it, all this, and then when you are married, it just talks about your harmony. And it's so cool because it talks about how satisfied are you all in this marriage.
And it does present in a nice little graph.
Yes. And that's why I did this, because the closer you are to the middle of the graph, the more harmonized you are. And that's what we want you to be. We want you to come together. Nothing's perfect. Nobody's lives is perfect. Trust and believe. We all have hills. We all have valleys. So no marriage is perfect. But it talks about managing things that as a team, just feeling like friends. I mean, a lot of different things, and it just shows how you answer and how you come together. And guess what? No matter where you fall out on the graph, if you want to work at it, we can help you. Mm-hmm. We can help you work at it. We can help you get on that same page. So these are some of the things. And then at the end of this whole exam, the whole session, when we're finally done, it talks about where do we go from here. So if there was something in that assessment that you did not like, if there was something that you really wanted to work on throughout the whole process with us, and I mean, we spend, like Charles said, about an hour a week with some of our people. We're busy. Our lives are busy. Most of our married couples' lives are busy.
Right.
So we work with you, and you all work with us, but we work through this because we're helpers one to another, and we're going to get through this together. So where do we go from here? And that's our goal. We sit down with you, we help you, and if you need to go somewhere outside of us, if you need to get, if we need to direct you in a different direction to work on some things, that's what we do. And then we like the feedback. So this is we invested in this and wanted to really partner and become facilitators for this SYMBIS, because we believe in marriage and we believe in what it stands for.
So what we're going to do, I'll have all the information attached to this video about how to go ahead and start your SYMBIS test, assessment test, if that's what you want to do. Trust me, it'll be great for you and it'll be great for your marriage.
Amazing. No matter where you are in your marriage, like,
no matter
please,
where you are,
like, no matter, like, y'all could have been married, y'all could be about to get married, or y'all could be married 20 years. Like, we did a session, last February. Love is a verb. I got on my shirt, and we had a couple in there, and it wasn't SYMBIS, but we just did a marriage session. and we really stuck on love and love languages. And it was a couple that had been married 23 years. And then she said, the wife said she learned something new about her husband that day. That was a blessing because it was something that we was able to see like,
And
wow,
it's
this helps.
awesome when somebody can actually reaffirm what you're doing.
Yes.
I mean, we've been married for a while, but when you're coming across people that have been married for such a long time and they're able to learn and grow their own marriage under the information that you're bringing across the table, it's really a blessing and affirms what you're doing.
Yes, and it doesn't get easy. You just learn how to roll and deal. You learn to understand each other better. And you do things like this because you want to work on certain things while things are still good. So you really try to do things like the SYMBIS exams, like, find other married couples to hang with, just different things that really can invest in your marriage. You invest in so much else. Charles mentioned purses. I love purses. So you invest in many other things. It might be shoes. It might be electronics, like for him. But why not invest in your marriage? We invest in our kids all the time. These kids want something new all the time. And the schools are always nickel and diming us.
But your relationship should be your top priority.
It should be. You make time and you make room and you make ways for things that matter. So make marriage matter and make it your priority. Before we head out, I do just want to invite couples. This is airing September 8th, Sunday. So any couples that in the Charlotte, Gastonia area, I do just want to let you know that usually follow our church's website as well because they do a My Marriage Matters. And it's good where...
The Genesis Church?
Yes, it's the Genesis Church. They're on Facebook and they're on Instagram. But it's good when the church that you worship in also appreciates marriages. And, we have a great pastor and first lady. So they live the life before us. And so... they're doing actually tomorrow, September 9th, they're doing a My Marriage Matters. So it's usually the first Monday of the month unless something changes. But just keep an eye out because, hey, it's wonderful. Still no judgment zone. And you can come together and just be around other married individuals. And then also we have coffee and conversations, and that is
the fourth Thursday.
The fourth Saturday of the month. And so we're trying to stay consistent even when football is throwing us off. Because last month we had a football game that almost overlapped it. But we're trying to stay consistent with that. And we're going to be there. Whether 1 stop in, whether 10 stop in. But we do need you to pre-register. And please, if you pre-register, please try to show up. We know things happen. But if you do register that you're coming, please try to come. We're not charging.
You can register on nt3r.net.
Yes.
Just fill out the form and then you're good to go.
You're free. It's a free registration. It's free. And we're doing this just to have couples come in. So we don't mind paying that money out to just have you come in and just be at an event, whatever. Hey, if you end up one couple, then you end up with a free one-on-one session with us. But we just want you to come in, and this is a way just to be around like-minded individuals and just get some alone time. Use it as a free date night. That's the way to have a date night. So just please let us know, and check out. But different things, if you follow our pages, Marriage to Third Ring, Instagram, Facebook, also our website is mt3r.net. We'll keep you up to date on different marriage things going on in the city, not just for ours, but any other things that we know of. We'll try to keep you, aligned to it. So it might be something you or your husband want to look out for.
And speaking of date nights, we actually do have one of our date boxes that we can send out. So the first person that actually registers for their SYMBIS test, we'll go ahead and send one out for them. Free of charge, free shipping. If you're in the Charlotte area, we'll just drop it off to you. But if you're abroad, we'll definitely go ahead and ship that out to you. Just go ahead and register, like she said, on mt3r.net. And make sure we have your address. We'll get that shipped out to you. If you're not familiar with the date box, we did a series on it a couple months ago. You can actually look back on our YouTube channel and see some of the videos there. They changed their name to Happily. So in our code, we actually do have a code, and it's
the third ring
50. The third ring 50. And I'll have that code put on the screen here. But the date Happily. So what it is, they'll send you different things inside of a box so you can actually have a date night together. And they'll do it monthly. So it's actually a pretty cool little service there that they do provide.
Yes.
So register for your SYMBIS test, and we'll send you a free box.
Yes, and that is registering and paying for the whole session. So the first person that registers and pays for the entire thing. Now, you do not have to be local. That's the last thing. You do not have to be local to actually do the SYMBIS and for us to go through it with you. We will set up and do a Skype conference call thing with you.
Yeah, we'll send out the conference call information, and then just join. You can join from a mobile phone, from a computer, and we'll be sharing our screen so you can actually see your assessment test results on the screen.
And then once everything is done, we actually send you the copy, so you'll have it for your records.
And we'll send you a nice little package there for you.
Yes, so so that is registering and paying for the full thing that's on there. So please, any questions, email us. And once you do it, and let us know that you did it because you seen the video, email us at info@mt3r.net and let us know, and then we'll know. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching this video.
And listen to her talk to most of the time.
And we're glad you watched it to the end, and hopefully you be the winner of our date box. Stay tuned because we'll be sending out things for the information for ambassadors for Marriage the Third Ring. We want people to know that marriage is not dead, that people are still getting married, that God still honors marriages. And so what better way to show it than to rock your marriage and spread it around. So we'll be sending information out. Everybody else can rock theirs, and so we can really let people know that marriage is still alive and kicking. So everyone have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday and enjoy the rest of your week. And don't forget to always keep checking back for my mommy moments as well.
Yeah.
I have another one that'll be coming up shortly this week. So remember to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button right below us. And remember to subscribe so therefore you'll be notified from Marriage the Third Ring videos and also my mommy moment videos. Bye-bye.
Thanks. See you.